This is just a quick little quarantine video. Extra content for you guys. I'm getting ready to splice my new rope road to some 5/16 chain, and I want to show you guys the process. Easy thing to do at home, away from your boat, and a good way to fill the time when we're in this period of stillness. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to say is that I've done this before on my anchor, like when I set up my entire anchor setup on Tritea, and I did it the traditional way, which is to come through here and then you splice it directly onto the chain and then back onto itself, which is perfectly acceptable. But I had a number of Chicken Littles telling me, you're gonna lose your boat within an hour. That's gonna wear right through. And I'm happy to say that after 3 years of anchoring all over Southern California, that splice is still perfectly fine. I check it before every time we go out. So, but people were very adamant. And another point of reference is every site you look at explains that process with no thimble. The other options, everybody was saying you need to include a thimble, splice a thimble in, because there's no way it'll ever last. Now, my greatest point of reference, Brian Toss, who is the king of all rigging. If you don't know about this book, Complete Rigger's Apprentice, this is the greatest book. So, Brian Toss, right here, shows you exactly how to splice the rope road to the chain in the exact same way that I followed from this book that everybody busted my balls about. So, I trust Brian Toss over a variety of people that are being apocalyptic on the internet. Sure, could it chafe through? I'm sure it could, but this is kind of the common way to splice them together, is just the rope road to the chain. That being said, I like to learn new things, so I'm going to go ahead and do it the other way for this setup. Now what this is going to be is our new stern anchor setup. And I'm going to go ahead and use this thimble so that we can learn how to splice onto a thimble, because I haven't done that before. And but I wanted to start out by letting you know that splicing directly onto the chain is perfectly fine, especially for this, because this is our stern setup, so it doesn't take nearly the amount of use as a regular setup. So, and I know that this thimble works, that this line is 1/2 inch line from New England Ropes, super quality. One of our patrons and friends, Kurt, a while back contacted us. He said he had a bunch of stuff in storage and wanted to send us a care package of stuff that was just gathering dust, and we were like, for sure, that would be awesome. And one of the things that he sent us was this beautiful new New England road. And I know that this thimble works because I actually popped it out of the other end. So it was already spliced in to one end, where you could just put a shackle and then you could shackle to here. Well, I want to remove the shackle from the equation so there isn't an extra component that could have corrosion, and this is just going to be one unit. So now this is going to be our bitter end. It already has an iSplice, which is nice. And you can go ahead and put a snap shackle on this and clip it to someplace on your stern, so that when you're paying out, if you get to the bitter end, you don't lose your whole setup. The other thing is you can also ditch this real easily by clipping. If you have a snap shackle on here, you can clip it to one of your fenders, throw it in the water, and get out of there if you need to, and then come back and retrieve it later. So we already have this nice thing that was a factory spliced version. We're going to do something similar with this thimble onto the chain. So let me think of what else. The other thing Kurt sent us was this really nice New England Ropes splicing tools kit. We don't really need it for this because it's 3 strand, so it's really easy. But it has if you're doing 12 strand or cord rope, and this stuff comes in really handy. So there's like all kinds of rad tools, the fids, everything. So, and it comes with a bunch of instructions inside. And you can buy simple versions of this at West Marine or on Amazon or wherever you buy your Marines hardware. And this has all kinds of splices in it. Also, in this day and age, the internet, YouTube has endless amounts of splicing videos. So there's a endless amounts of resources for you on learning how to do this. I'm going to use one of the fids just for giggles. This 3-strand is really easy. So let's go ahead and change the sort of visual so that it's easier for you guys to see what I'm doing and get this job knocked out. Okay, so we're working with 1/2-inch rope road. We have like 192 feet, I think. I think it comes in that length because a lot of times people would splice on like 10 feet of chain or something, but it was just shy of 200 feet. And we have some 5/16 chain that came off my boat that I had 2 lengths of this, 20 foot each, and I gave a length to Kristen and Dyer for the Black Lotus and kept a length for us for our stern setup. So we're gonna have, 210 feet of road just for our stern anchor, which is what a lot of people have for their main setup. I like to have more than you need. I'm a fan of that. It'll be nice too. We've had some problems with we have a Fortress anchor that we use on our stern setup. We've had problems with it popping before, so I think this 20 feet of 5/16 is really going to hold it down better than what we kind of have a puny setup right now. So let's go ahead and start unraveling this. Now, one of the things Brian Toss talks about in this book is that you can take this rope, any kind of rope road you're getting ready to work with, and soak it in like maybe diluted Elmer's glue, like just for children's glue, overnight, and that holds its shape, and then it can easily be kind of rinsed out later on. But someone has like the end of this is like super glued. It seems like this rope came from the factory. I don't think it's been messed with since it was bought. So I've already put our thimble onto our chain. You want about 5 lengths of your thimble. So it's like 2 1/4 inches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's about how much we want to unravel to do this splice. So now we have our spot. I'm gonna go ahead and lay that there. And electrical tape's good for this sort of stuff. You could also just use whipping twine, but what this is gonna do is prevent it from unraveling anymore. And once we get it up through, we'll be taking that off. So now we can go ahead and start unraveling our 3-strand. 3-strand's really easy to splice. So this is like a good sort of line to start with if you're just learning how to splice. Now, like I said, these ends are glued, but before you get too crazy, if you've just cut them, if you don't have a hot knife, which we have one, but it's at the boat, so you can just electrical tape the ends. You're gonna be feeding this through over and over again, and they kind of come apart if you don't. So electrical tape's the kind of go-to for most people doing this stuff. We're in South Central, so you can hear the helicopters cruising around, looking for anyone not wearing a mask, which is the opposite of what most helicopters do. Usually cops looking for people wearing masks. we're at the bottom of our thimble. When you're doing this for the first time, or even for the 100th time, it's good to have like the step-by-step instructions on how to do it, either in a book that shows how to do splicing, or I have an iPad open right now. And the hardest part of this stuff is getting it started. So once you get it started, then it's just the same. It's like braiding anything. It's like you do the first 3 steps and then you just repeat it all the way. So it's really easy once you get the initial part started. So and I'll post a link to some of these in the description down below so that you have some options, but you'll be able to find them easy. There's tons of them online. So we'll go ahead and start. This one, I have one strand that has like color markings on it. And I'll get my little fid here and just start it. I want it pretty tight to make sure that the thimble is tight. So I'm just gonna open that 3 strand up a little bit with this fid. Don't really need the fid, but. And then we're gonna feed it in. You can walk wherever. Were you trying to fuck with me? Camille's trying to fuck with me right now. So I'm gonna feed it in that way. And then we're gonna do the next one on the next little turn. So that this one is going under, this one's going over the one we stood under, and goes under the next one. And then you flip the whole business over. To do the very next one. Okay, now that we got our first 3 under, this is the tricky part, is like repeating it without getting confused. And it may take a couple tries where you have to undo everything and redo it, but basically it's like you just keep going in the same direction, skipping one. I think these are called picks, like each of the little lines. So God damn it. Like I said, this first bit is like the hardest to get your head around. But once you get it started, then it's easy. Okay, so I've started and stopped this video like 20 times. As I mentioned before, the hardest part is getting it started, and then you just repeat the process. Luckily, I have like one that was already done on the rope, came from the factory, which makes it easy to kind of follow the line of how they did it. Another good option, which is helpful, is animatedknots.com. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. It's a great site, shows you step by step. Even that can be a little confusing, but we're gonna use this one that's already done and kind of walk our way through it. And you know, this isn't meant to be some kind of expert splicing video. There are better videos out there to learn that. But this is kind of showing you what I'm doing and going about it, and then you can go from there to find sort of better solutions. So, we'll just choose one. You can see my line is, or rope is getting like very blown out. That's why you want this tape at the end. It'll save you a lot of heartache. Okay. And we want to keep this laying in the same orientation as we have this so that it's less confusing. So we have our first one under there. Now the next one just falls directly under that, so there's that. So this next one is here. And I know it's hard for you guys to see, but there's that. And then we just repeat with our third one. It's going to go over the one that we just did so that it traps it, and under the next one. Like that. And it looks like a hell of a mess, but now we're just going to continue repeating that. So we've gone under here, we go over one pick and under the next pick. Like that. Find our next piece here, and you can do this. This is the little fid. You can put that in there to feed it through if you're having trouble. But like I said, for 12 strand, this stuff is good. For 3 strand, it's really not that necessary. But we have our piece here. We're gonna go over this pick and under this one. See how it feeds it right through? It's pretty cool. And then we turn this, we go over this pick, and under this one. And you see how it's starting to come together? Now I'm going to go ahead and finish this out. You guys don't need to watch this, and we'll talk about the end when I get there. Okay, so we got our splice done. I made my splice much longer than a lot of people do. So like the one from the factory was like only that long, but I like to have plenty, and it only adds strength, so it doesn't take anything away. I guess it takes a little bit of length away, but we're not concerned about it for this application. So there's our thimble spliced onto our chain, our little stern anchor setup. This one's going to be legit stern anchor. Ground tackle. Pretty excited. And next time I'm at the boat, which is probably going to be tomorrow, I'm going to get, I have like whipping twine at the boat, and I'm going to whip this whole area here so that keeps that thimble in nice and tight. And then we're just going to trim these off down here. And you can leave them sticking out like that. I'm not really a fan. I don't know. I'll probably whip these. You can melt them so that they don't fray out like crazy. But it's like with it only being 3 strand, you can't really tuck them in like you can with 12 strand because they just pop out. So I'm going to go ahead and melt these a little bit, and then I'll whip this whole area as well to kind of seal the deal. You can see those side by side. And the one thing you want to do is just keep pulling that thing tight. So this one's, it's pretty solid, you know. You want to have that as tight as possible. So you just keep tightening it up as you go. So the thimble's in there pretty good, you see. There's not a lot of play in there, but it'll be even better once I whip this whole area. And that's it. That's our new anchor road setup. And the We'll put a nice stainless steel shackle on one end and our fortress anchor for our stern. So once all the quarantine's over with, we'll be able to get out there and try this new setup, and we'll be able to show you guys videos of that as well. During our recent YouTube live stream, we asked if you guys enjoyed the bonus footage that we threw out, and you said yes. So went ahead and put this together during lockdown for you guys, and hopefully you're getting a lot of projects done during this quiet time, and we'll all be ready for the summer and getting out there and exploring the water. So thanks for watching. Until next time, fair winds.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. It helps us a lot.
Thanks again to all of our patrons. Your contributions help us get the boat ready for big things.
Until next time.
Sweet quarantine, ba ba ba. Bad times never felt so good. That's for Noah. Sweet cherry pie, bum bum bum.